What's up, plant lovers? I'm Devin Wallien, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how to propagate our Adenium Desert Rose. If you're looking for the video on how to increase the thickness of your caudex, check the links in the description below and you'll find a link to that very popular video. This would be the plant that I actually did that process on, and you can see that it is starting to thicken up nicely. And I also did it on this one, which you can see it's starting to get nice and bulbous. But today's video is going to be all about how to take cuttings of our desert rose and propagate them so that we can increase our stock. And also, when we do remove the stems for cuttings, that is also going to send energy into our caudex to increase the thickness, as well as increasing branching structures in our plants. All right, so the only things that we need our clean, sharp shears, and we need some just some store-bought cinnamon. You can see I just put it in this little container, pre-ground, of course. And the next thing that we need to do is we need to determine where we should be cutting our plants. What is the right size of cutting, the right thickness? And typically when I'm looking for cuttings, I want a cutting that's going to be around 5 to 6 inches in length. And I typically want a cutting that's going to be about the thickness of a pencil or like a permanent marker. Anything that's really thick like this guy, this is going to be a little bit too thick. It's going to be much harder to root something this thick as it would be something that is about this thickness. Alternatively, something that is around this thinness is going to be too thin to really propagate with a lot of success. So we want to let things like this continue to grow and thicken up. You can see this is a nice variegated desert rose, which is a new addition to my family. While desert rose with thick stems like this is going to be too thick. You can see this guy is starting to flower, starting to produce its flower buds, so that's nice. And really the best time to do this is as soon as possible in the summer months. I'm here in Westchester, Pennsylvania, zone 6B, 7A, and I'm at the very last few days of May. And I need to ensure that my night temperatures are going to be above 50 degrees Fahrenheit for really like the next, I would say the next 8 weeks or so. So you do not want to do this at the end of summer. You also don't want to do it too early in the spring either. So once you have those requirements, let's take a look. So the nice thing about desert rose, as they are succulent plants, you see all of these notches. These are notches where there were old like leaf nodes. So those are good sections that are full of hormones, and you can see they're all up and down these stems. So unlike other plants that we might be propagating, like pelargonium for instance, it's really not super important to find like an old node to cut just above when we're doing our propagation. Really, we just want to find anywhere along the stem a section. You know, this has 1, 2, kind of 3 little branches, which is maybe more than I would prefer. I'd really prefer something that like this that has one main stem. This little guy is coming out, but we're going to take 2 cuttings, and what we're going to do, we're just going to take our nice clean shears, and right at this Y, this is a good section to do it, we're just going to cut it right off, just like that. Likewise with this guy, this is a nice height. That's about 6 inches, a little, you know, as thin as my pinky, thereabouts, something like that. And likewise, I'm going to cut it off just right here. Now the good thing is this will actually branch out, and so you're not going to be left with some nubs right here. But we do want to immediately take our cinnamon and sprinkle it on. This is going to keep it nice and clean and keep any bacteria from entering in while these callus over. Likewise, we can take our cuttings that we just took and dip them in that cinnamon as well. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to remove the foliage, and we do not want to strip them off, because if you do, that will leave you know, open wounds, and those open wounds can harvest bacteria, but it also just takes more effort for them to heal over. So if we just cut them off just like this, There's might be a little bit of a leaf section still on there, but over the course of a week or so, that will naturally fall off. So we're just gonna cut them all off pretty low. And in about a week or so, these will turn black and fall off on their own accord. Now, the next thing that we need to do, we need to allow these to heal over, cure over on those wounds. So what we want to do, we want to put them outside in the shade where it's not going to get any direct sunlight and also protected from the rain. And we're going to leave them outside in that spot for the next like 10 to 14 days while they start to cure over. Once they've cured over, I'll show you guys what we're going to do next. All right, so it's been 12 days since we took our cuttings. They've calloused over, as you can see right here. And now it's time to get them potted up. So I filled out these 3-inch containers with some seedling mix. This black gold seedling mix, you can find a link to that in the description below if you would like to have it sent to your house. And once you have it in your pot, I pre-moisten it just by pouring some water onto it, and then I'll take like a chopstick and mix it up to make sure it's all nice and moist. And also make sure that it's nice and fluffy. Lots of air pockets are going to be perfect. So we're going to take our cuttings and we're going to plant about 1/3 of its total height underneath the soil. So for this guy, it's probably just about right up to that little branching out section. So because it's nice and fluffy, I'll just nestle it in here just like that, keeping it nice and fluffy without compacting it too much. Let's stir this around. And this guy is going to be about the same. Just going to plant it down here just like that. So next comes the hardest part. So I'm not going to water these in at all. I'm going to just take them, because they've already been pre-moistened in the soil, there is some moisture, which is going to be good. And I'm going to take them, I'm going to put them back here. They're not going to get any direct sunlight. They're not going to get any precipitation. They're going to stay right here, nice and dry. I'm not going to water them today, not for 2 weeks, okay? We need to keep them dry. Even if they look bone dry, don't water them for 2 weeks. If you do, that is going to lead them to rot. So even if you live where it's super hot out in the 90s, keep it in the shade, keep it dry, okay? The heat, the dryness are going to be all right, but do not give it additional water unless you want to see it turn to rot. I've done it, I've learned, so that's all for today. All right, so after 2 weeks, I gave them a little bit of water, and then I actually went on vacation for 2 weeks, and I made sure to leave no H2O on my cuttings while I was gone. So I just got back yesterday, and it's been 2 weeks since I watered the last time, and let's check it out. Look, I've got some little baby leaves growing on my plant, on this guy, and this guy is just getting started. So it looks like the propagations have been successful. So since it's been 2 weeks since I've given this any water, I will give it a little bit more right now. Just like that. And now I'm going to continue to give it water about once every 10 to 14 days as well for the next, I would say, 6 weeks, just allowing it to continue to grow nice and slowly. I'm going to keep it in this mostly shaded area. And then once it has a little bit larger leaves, then I can definitely go out and put it out into the sunnier section of my deck and care for it like I do all of my other adeniums outside in the hot, full sun in the summertime, watering it very regularly. And then indoors, once the temperatures in the fall start to get about 45 degrees at night, bring them back inside and restrict water completely while they're indoors over the winter time. But with that, now you know how to propagate your Adenium Desert Rose successfully so that you can create more and more plants. But if you still have any further questions or comments, make sure to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer each and every one of them. And subscribe to our channel. We're bringing new plant-related content every single week. Thanks for joining me here on Plant Vibrations. I'll catch you soon. Ciao.